Yeah, I might want to add myself to the stage, huh? Let's put myself up here. Yay, there I am. Hi, everybody. Hello there, good people. It's Jason with Green Country Agriforestry here. I'm wearing my Papa Smurf t-shirt today because I'm coming to you as Papa Smurf, United States Navy. How y'all doing? Um, wow, it's been a week, hasn't it? I haven't made a video for production this week so far, and it's not for not it's not exactly for a lack of industry. It's just my efforts have been elsewhere this week. I've been working on another project, and sort of trying to capture gardening footage as I don't know why I'm looking at the screen here. I'm not like staring off instead of looking at you guys. I've been working on other projects. I spent most of last month attempting to capture a swallowtail butterfly emerging from the chrysalis, which I never did quite get. Four attempts, four attempts. The latest one was a chrysalis that was on the fence post right there next to the house, and we had some thunderstorms moving in and rainy weather for about 2 or 3 days during the time period. It's like a 7 to 10 day period that the butterfly can emerge from the chrysalis. So during that time period, wasn't really good for shooting video. And the morning that it cleared up, I went out there and had a look, and it didn't really look like it was ready. So I thought, well, maybe tomorrow. The next day came, butterfly's gone. So that's four attempts, got skunked four times. At least one of the tries, it looks like some kind of a predator came in and opened up the chrysalis from the bottom and pulled the maturing butterfly out and probably ate it. Yeah, that sort of thing happens. And then, of course, as we approach middle of the week, I noticed that, let's see, Wendy at Hardneck Farms has been doing a Wednesday night live stream, which is about the same time I used to do a live stream on Wednesday night. And I don't want to jump into her time slot. And it's kind of like that's her time slot now, right? So I'll jump in and say hi to her and go on with my business instead of doing a live stream every Wednesday. So now it's more of a I don't know. Whenever I feel like jumping in front of the camera and letting it roll live is whenever I'm going to do a live stream. We're going to do it that way for a while. Vicky's saying, do you know if hornworms are good for anything but bird feed? They're good for bird feed. I think they do turn into a pretty little flying critter whenever it's all done. But they feed on all kinds of solanaceas, including the ones that grow wild. So chances are, if you pick them off of your tomatoes, they'll be fine. There's plenty of solanaceas out there for them to feed on, other than just your tomatoes. So I wouldn't be too concerned about protecting your own particular harvest from the hormone. But you don't have to go into any great, extremes. Just whenever you see the worm there, you can relocate them or dispose of them the way you see fit. Sometimes just relocating the hornworm to someplace where the predators are going to see it and snatch it up. That's nature taking care of its thing. But I kind of like having alternatives already there in the garden, right? You say having fattening on the wild grapevines. Yeah, I mean, if there's a trap crop out there already that they're going to feast on that you're not concerned with, then just let nature take its course. Provide the necessary habitat for all the critters, and the balance will take care of itself, and you don't have to really be overly concerned. As long as you're producing enough for everyone, then you take the part that you need, and the ecosystem flourishes. Never mind, never worry. But as you guys know, there was a fellow by the name of Charlie Kirk that got attacked and did not survive the attack here recently. It was yesterday. Charlie is the kind of fellow that liked to go to college campuses and sit down with a table and a sign saying "change my mind" and inviting people to engage in civil discourse with him. And the fact that he was attacked and suffered the loss of his life in such a way is a rather tragic event, I think, for all of us. most particularly for the people that enjoy civil discourse and the seeking of truth. The impetus might be to immediately feel a desire to see the scales balance, a desire for vengeance. Obviously, we don't want to see these sorts of things happening. There's fundamental human rights issues at place, at stake. The basic right to life, obviously, being one of them. So today I've decided that we're going to take a step back into the side a little bit and start our gardening show, because this is a gardening show, with maybe a talk about the elephant that's not in the room. And our story for today is told from Mahabharata. This is an English translation of Mahabharata. It's a very, very old book, so I don't think we're going to have any trouble with copyright infringement. Now, allow me to set the stage here for the story that we're telling. Let me put the little. This is a thick book, guys. I'm going to put the little dust jacket cover right here at the spot. All right, so this is 3100 BC, somewhat way back in the past, and it's in India. And this is also a time period where you've got a group of people that's come across from the area of this northeast Persia, what is nowadays, I guess, Iran, and parts of Turkey and that particular area, right, where the boats came down. The people have been coming across into the Indus River Valley, and they've been interacting with the people who are there in the Indus River Valley. And there's been some warfare pops up, right? Now, one of the main characters involved is this fellow by the name of Drona. His name kind of means, I guess, the water dipper. It would be a way of putting it. Or I guess if you're going to go with ancient Mesopotamian, he might be an analog for Aki, the one who raises the child Sargon in the legend, right? But once again, this is new stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. Indian mythology is thick, and it has a lot of echoes that have been heard all the way around the world at different times and different places. So it's fun. All right. So Drona, remember, Drona has a connection to the mountains of Arata, where the boats came down. Remember, this is the Mahabharata. Okay. 3100 BC or earlier. This is time periods that we don't really have much in the way of like real good archaeology for. It's just stories and stories handed down and stories told by different sides, stories told by people who witnessed a war, stories told by people who were in a war, stories who are told by the people who suffered as a consequence of war. If we can find all those stories and put them together, we'd have a more accurate picture. But the bits and pieces are so old and so ancient, and are so altered in the retelling that it's kind of hard to put them all together. It's like following a path of old worn stones that are just covered by the jungle and sometimes by the sands of time. And occasionally, you may have a spot that's had the moss swept aside, and you can catch a glimpse of a bit here and there, right? And yeah, a lot of us for the English-speaking world, most of us we had for Indian mythology was coming from Rudyard Kipling, who is an excellent poet. I can't recommend him enough. All right, so I was getting a little off track. Drona was the kind of person who had taken a vow of poverty. He wasn't interested in worldly possessions. He wasn't interested in building an empire. He was interested in pursuing higher knowledge. And he had a foundling that he raised up to be his son. This foundling went by the name of Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama is the character that we're going to be talking about here in the story. Ashwatthama is the adopted son of Drona. Now, Drona has an occasion where he teaches a few other people some of his wisdom. Um, and one of those also features in the story. Um, his name is, I believe, Aruna. We'll get to him later. But one of the things that Aruna was taught was a particular technique, a divine weapon, so to speak. What's called an astra. An astra is a spiritual weapon. It's not a physical weapon. It's something spiritual. And if you're familiar with how these things work, everything begins in mind. From mind, a thought can be given a sensation, feeling, or emotion, which is projected into the world where it interacts with other thoughts, feelings, and emotions, gathering and forming by those interactions texture to the point where they cause real physical effects in the world. That's kind of how it works. Drona was very skilled in these things, and Ashvatthama took, I'm adding the R, just like, sorry, there's no R in there. It's spelled without an R. Ashvatthama took great interest in the formation and use of the astras, although whenever the time came for Drona to receive his own particular inheritance, he was late in coming to where his particular teacher had lived to receive his division of the spoil, so to speak. You know, what was available, and what was left was the weaponry. So he took the weapons and became a master of weapons. So there we have the backstory for Drona. Fast forward to later on in the story, and there is a war that's now going on. This is the Mahabharata war. This thing, that's all this is about. Going on. Indus River Valley is where it's taking place, but it's also taking place across all of the old ancient world. Perhaps even if we're to just take a step back from the story, it may be a worldwide war, like a real world war. It's kind of hard to say, right? In any case, the sides are drawn, and the battle is being fought, and as things are winding down, the one side realizes that with Drona being well armed as he is, there's no way that they're going to be able to. There's no way they're going to be able to attack him, not successfully anyway. And besides which, Aruna, the guy that we're talking about, the one who is taught this particularly potent astra, is not going to attack his own teacher. It's just not going to happen. And so a scheme is devised. Krishna is involved in this. A scheme is devised by which Drona can be distracted, and it was the hope of Krishna in any case that while Drona is distracted, he can be disarmed, and then this particular rather dangerous past in history can be put to an end, because this war is devastating. So many people are dying, and Drona being a very, very potent weapon master, and so on and so forth, they would like to remove this piece from the battlefield. We're thinking in terms of chess, right? Drona is he's I guess he's more like a rook, right? Very, very, very potent piece on the battlefield. So they're trying to remove this particular piece. So to prepare for this, there's one of the guys that's involved in the entire conflict that is known for his dedication to telling the truth. Like, for example, if you ask this guy something, dead ass, straightforward, he will always tell the truth. It's part of his bhakti, his devotion, his entire reason for being, so to speak, right? That's his jam. And so they go and they kill an elephant named Ashvatthama, and the elephant's killed. Just Ashvatthama the elephant. And then they go present this story to Drona, saying Ashvatthama is dead, and Drona, knowing not to take anything at surface value, goes and says, let me go ask this other guy who I know is known to tell the truth. And he says, is this true? And the other guy, being in on the gag, says Ashvatthama is dead, the elephant. But he says, the elephant, so quietly that Drona doesn't hear, that he said, the elephant, Ashvatthama, is dead. And so Drona goes is in grief. His son is lost on the battlefield. His son is dead. And he sits down to meditate to find the spirit of his lost son, who is actually not actually his son at all. It's his adopted son that is Ashwatthama. So while he is thus distracted, the emissary that delivers the news takes advantage and draws his sword, and the head's drawn on the spot, kills him. Ashwatthama finds out that this has happened, and he goes into a rage. He goes absolutely ballistic, and he is like Anakin at this point in the grips of the dark side, and he is killing the younglings and everything else. He's out of control. And so this is close to the end of the story. Ashwatthama is out of control. And oh, by the way, I've got a guest backstage. Usually the guest I've got backstage is reading stuff like this to us. So today, Jeremy, today you get to listen in while somebody else reads from old books. So I'm going to bring you on in, guys. This is Jeremy Pittman, or Jeremy Pitt from Pitt Steak. Here he is.
Hi, everyone.
And let me see about rearranging our thing. Zero. There we go. I don't know. Does that look any different?
Everyone.
That's about the same.
Looks good to me.
All right, there we go. Yep. So ordinarily, Jeremy's reading to us, and he's been doing it for a while as part of the rehabilitation. He had a cyst in his throat, using the techniques that sometimes I allude to as Qigong. He managed to figure out, because there wasn't a master to teach him, he figured out how to do it and used that to help dissolve the cyst in his throat. He prayed to God for a way, and that way was presented. Followed it and found healing. So he's, as part of the rehabilitation, has been reading, which is excellent for working on public speaking, for getting over your fear of speaking in front of crowds.
It's been amazing.
All sorts of things, and working on developing his voice. So he has been doing this with just a huge volume of esoterica. It is astounding the number of books that this man has read aloud for audiences. If you would like to listen to some of the books that are on the bookshelf behind me, and you haven't found them for free anywhere, tune in to Pitt Steak, and you can listen to him read them. Although, granted, yeah, you're going to be listening to him recover his voice while reading them. But
I also provide the link down below with every video so that you can go back to the original source. So.
Right. And quite often, whenever he's doing the reading in the video, he's got the text from online source where he's reading from, so you can follow along too.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's just reading it out like I'm going to be doing today. I don't have the text to put up on the screen.
I do a lot of discussion about it, however. So
Right.
my opinions wherever I feel fit.
Be forewarned. Jeremy will jump in, and he will step on toes.
I do have a tendency to step on toes. I do not apologize for it, but it is not intentional.
All right. So, have you read any of this one yet?
I have not.
All right. So this is going to be a new one. I'm sorry. It's far into the book, but as you can see, it's a very, very thick book.
Like, I was digging the narrative.
All right. So, well, I kind of had to set the backstory, because if I was going to read all of that, then we'd be about getting there.
Yeah, that's a lot of material right there.
All right. So let me see here. So at this point, Aruna and Krishna are out hunting for him, Ashwatthama, right? They're out hunting for him. The Pandavas is the opposing faction whenever we mention them. And the Brahmins are mentioned because this is a group of people who just have stayed above the fray. They're not getting involved in it because this is not the way, right? So he's taken up shelter amongst the holy people, essentially, at this point in time. So here he is. There's a character named Bhima here who's coming from the Pandava side. He leapt from the chariot and ran towards him with a roar. Ashwatthama looked up and saw the furious Pandava charging, as well as Aruna and Krishna standing on their chariot nearby. So Krishna's right there. Shiva's terrible power had left him as soon as it emerged from the Pandavas' camp. So the power of Shiva, the power of the destroyer had been upon him. Or somebody might say the spirit of the Lord came upon him and he took up the jawbone of an ass and slayed all these men, right? That's the sort of thing that we're talking about as far as the power of Shiva, the spirit of Shiva coming upon him. But this
activation of the plasma streams.
Exactly. Yeah. If we're probably gonna
get to the source and grab it home.
We are probably gonna cover this Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if not this Saturday, at least one of them. All right. Where is he? His terrible power had left him as soon as he had emerged from the Pandavas' camp, and he was terror-stricken when he saw the two mighty Pandavas and Krishna. Oh, yeah, and Krishna. He thought of the Brahmashira, Brahmashira. Sorry, Brahmashira. This is the astra that Drona had taught him, the one that Aruna also knew, and this is the most powerful of the spiritual weapons imaginable. Okay? This is not a physical weapon. This is a spiritual weapon. That irresistible weapon was his only hope. Taking up a reed of kusha grass. Kush. Anyway, grass. Aswatthama recited the incantations to invoke the Brahmashira. Seeing this, Krishna shouted to Bhima to stop. The Pandava obediently halted in his tracks. As Aswatthama invoked his weapon, a glaring light spread in all directions, witnessing the blinding force of the most powerful of all the Brahma missiles, which even he had never seen before. Remember, he had been taught about it, but he never used it. Aruna offered prayers to Krishna. My dear Lord Krishna, he's standing right there. I don't know why they're called prayers. My dear Lord Krishna, you're almighty personality of Godhead. There is no limit. Okay, there's a lot of bowing.
Probably a translation error.
Yeah, well, it's
probably like, hey guys.
Remember, this story is being taught in times past by people who fear Krishna. So there's going to be a little bit
of a religion
going on, right? All right, yeah, keep that in mind. He's probably talking to him like, buddy, my friend, my teacher, my guide, my that sort of thing, not this. But anyway, there's no limit to your different energies. Therefore, only you are capable of instilling fearlessness in the hearts of your devotees. Everyone in the flames of material miseries can find the path of liberation in you only. Yeah, see, there we go, laying it on thick. You're beyond the illusion of this world, and nothing is unknown to you. Therefore, kindly tell me, what is this blazing light which threatens to consume everything? I should pause for a moment here. There is one particular Chalagi story that's part of the creation myth about, not creation myth, how they came to be here on Turtle Island. And their story at that time was the civilization that they were a part of had embraced a white light technology of some sort that destroyed them, and they took refuge on boats and came here. I don't know where to put this in time with the other story about whenever the waters rose and they took shelter in the caves. These may be parts of the same story, or they might be two different stories.
They might be opposite ends of the thing.
There's seven different Chalagi clans, and they don't all necessarily have the same origin stories. So there's that. Anyway, all right. White light. Here we go. Blazing light, which threatens to consume everything. Know for me that this is the all-powerful Brahmashira. This wicked man, afraid of imminent death, has thrown the weapon, but Partha, he has no knowledge of how to withdraw it. Now this is the thing. Whenever you're working with spiritual weapons, if you don't understand what you're working with, and a lot of people don't, feeding the Aragors, feeding into the algorithm, feeding into the spirit of the age, right? That says this is the popular thing. The masses are in favor. Let's jump on the bandwagon and go for the settling of scores. That's a powerful spiritual weapon, and people who wield it most often are not even capable of withdrawing it, even if they knew how to. Krishna knew that Drona had not fully instructed his son on how to use the weapon, realizing that he would likely abuse its power. How true. Now he had desperately released it, not caring if it could destroy the world, even with himself in it. See, this is a spiritual weapon. Spiritual weapons have life. They grow. Once they're released, they can continue onwards, and they can keep on having an effect in the world. This particular one had to be dissipated. This is important. All right. So Krishna urged Arjuna to counter the weapon. Release your own Brahma missile, O Partha, which will combine with Ashwatthama's, and then you may withdraw both. In other words, by harmonizing what he was releasing, Arjuna might have been capable of creating a counter resonance to what Ashwatthama was releasing.
I see that.
He might have been. But Ashwatthama did something unexpected. All right. So Arjuna immediately touched Krishna's feet and thought of the mantras to invoke the weapon. He released the missile, and it met with Ashwatthama's in the sky. A great circle of blazing light filled the heavens. It appeared as if a second brilliant sun had risen and was about to burn the universe to ashes. Here's another character here that we haven't mentioned before, so we have to go back and read more story. Vyasadeva was sitting, Vyasa, I believe, is the character who later writes, like as in Sanskrit, writes the Rig Vedas, the Holy Scriptures.
Right.
So this is the scribe.
That's the guy who wrote the book.
If I'm wrong, somebody please correct me, because comments and everything, because I am not. I am just learning here. But I think Vyasa is the guy that gets the credit for having written the Vedas. All right, so Vyasadeva was sitting among the rishis, that's the reeds, in the bank on the river. Remember, this is where the Brahmin are. So he's there with the Brahmin. He's one of the Brahmin, right? One of the peaceful ones,
right?
Who is now in the middle of this war. Like peaceful ones in this country seem to be somehow getting drawn in to the middle of something.
Yeah,
we're trying to live in our gardens, guys.
So it's better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the warrior.
Correct. So Vyasadeva is sitting among the rishis on the bank of the river. Witnessing the combined power of the two Brahma weapons, he became alarmed. He ran over to Ashwatthama and said, "Oh, Brahmin, what are you doing? Why have you thrown this weapon? It will destroy the world. Withdraw it at once." Ashwatthama looked at the rishis, but made no reply. He was unable to withdraw the weapon, but could redirect it to another target. Ashwatthama saw that his attempt to kill Arjuna and Krishna was being thwarted. He was directing it at Krishna? Ho. That's probably not a good idea. Anyway, his own powers were no match for Arjuna's superior military skills. His military skills? His military skills. So this spiritual weapon relates to the formation, distribution, ordering, and dispensation of armies. It's a spiritual weapon given physical form. So we're still talking about fighting war here.
Right.
Yeah. We're talking about it in a different way. All right. Hang on a second. Ashwatthama realized now that death now stared him in the face. Surely the Pandavas would show him no mercy. Frustrated and filled with despair, he remembered that Uttara, Abhimanyu's wife, Abhimanu, Ahimanyu, perhaps? Are we crossing over into the Persian mythology here? Do we have a connection? Maybe. I don't know. Was pregnant with the child conceived before the prince's death. Remember, we had something happen in we're going to have to go to Zoroaster here, aren't we? Probably to find the rest of this. She was carrying the last of the Kuru line. That was the opposing side of the war, Pandavas and the Kurus. She was carrying the last of the. The Kuru line was in the Pandavas. Sorry, the Kurus. All right, the Kurus were the ones that had cut off Drona's head. Ashwatthama's mind raced. It was the proud Kurus who had killed his father, and were about to kill him too. Deciding that if he was to die, he would take the last hopes of the Kuru house with him. Ashwatthama concentrated on Uttara, and in particular on the child in her womb. He uttered mantras to redirect the Brahmashura, and it flew towards the Pandavas' camp, where Uttara had gone with this other character named Draupadi. Unaware of Ashwatthama's evil desire, Arjuna chanted the mantras to withdraw his own weapon. So he's still trying to harmonize, and he's going to withdraw. So he's telling his armies to stand down. Right. Essentially, that's what he's telling his armies to stand down. All right. and the brilliant glare in the sky gradually subsided. I don't know exactly what's involved with this brilliant glare in the sky, but chances are we're talking about maybe a lot of Vimanas, maybe a lot of drones, maybe a lot of missiles, maybe a lot of things.
There's significant reason to believe that there was nuclear explosions off the coast of India. So
Right. Seeing that the danger had passed, Vyasadeva returned to his place amid the sages, who were in the midst of performing a sacrifice to Vishnu. And I'm wondering here if maybe sages and rishis and reeds might all be phonemes that play off of each other in wordplay, but I don't know the Sanskrit.
right.
All right. In the Pandavas camp, Uttara suddenly felt herself in danger. Yeah, you can whenever somebody directs something like that at you. She was not sure of the cause, but could sense the approach of something. The beautiful princess, still only a young girl, fell to the ground. Her limbs trembled and she felt apprehensive. Terrified, she offered prayers to Krishna, whom she saw as her only shelter. Of course, Krishna is right there, where the action is. Oh, Lord of Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. Hearing her heartfelt prayer, even as he sat on the chariot with Arjuna, Krishna, who understood Ashwatthama's intentions, at once expanded his personal energy, right, to protect Uttara. He entered her womb in a mystical form and covered the child. As the Brahmashira approached, it was neutralized and sent harmlessly into the sky. Uttara and the other Pandava ladies looked with wonder at the missile as it rose upwards like a blazing comet. Surely Krishna had saved them all from certain death. After withdrawing his celestial Brahma weapon, Arjuna fired another weapon at Ashwatthama that immediately bound him with strong cords. I mean, probably start with the chain first, guys. Maybe that one. I got to say. All right. Sorry, we got some trumpets blowing nearby. Guys, hit like, share, comment, all that good stuff down below. I've got some milk that I'm drinking, which you probably shouldn't do in public speaking, but
Nobody can smell your breath. It'll be all right.
but I didn't feel like brewing coffee, and it's this mug was too big for me to fit in the microwave. I was thinking about turning it into golden milk, but we'll just have to do without the herbs and spices.
There you go.
All right. So yeah, binds him up with an energy weapon. Isn't that nice? The chain.
Yeah.
The chain there.
Very interesting.
And so leaping from Krishna's chariot, he ran over to Ashwatthama. And I look like I'm reading a scroll here.
Hey, look, it's Biet.
Huh?
I said, no, that's not Biet. What is it? Caleb? Which one's the one sitting down reading the
Noon.
Noon.
It's Noon. Yeah. Noon. Getting into his studies, because if you weren't into your studies, then you didn't know how to behave properly, apparently. Right?
There's a lot of that goes on.
All right. Although capable, Aruna was reluctant to kill the son of his teacher. So Aruna wasn't going to kill Drona, and he wasn't going to kill Ashwatthama. Aruna actually learned his lessons, right? Well, I don't know. He probably should have. Okay. Throwing his own was supposed to harmonize. So he issued the order for his army, or what his forces, to counterbalance what Ashwatthama was doing, to force Ashwatthama to withdraw, I think is what we're supposed to interpret from that. So his commitment to a hostile act was not done to accelerate, but in an attempt to present equally matching irresistible force, so that the other would be compelled to withdraw. But apparently that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, he was being sneaky. So.
All right. So after withdrawing his celestial Brahma, okay, we got to that part. Seeing Arjuna sparing Ashwatthama's life, Krishna said, "O Partha, you should not show mercy to him. He is no Brahmin. He has killed innocent boys in their sleep. This is always against religious codes. His sins have been great. You should kill him for his own good. Otherwise, he will descend into hell." Wow. Imagine that one. Furthermore, you promised Draupadi that you will bring her head of her son's killer. Oh, do not hesitate. He is brutally murdered your family members and deserved death at your hands without doubt, having blighted his own family name. But the burnt remnants of his dynasty kill him at once. So Krishna here is actually counseling Aruna to do the guy in right there on the spot. Oh my goodness! But then again, this is also the miscreant in the process of committing,
doing what they think is
right. This isn't like we came back and we plotted and we schemed and we got revenge later.
Yeah.
In the
cold
and better off they'd be dead. But this was interesting. Let me see. You've promised Draupadi that you'll bring her the head of her son's killer. So he had made an oath. And remember, well, I don't know. The people who are watching from my channel didn't know, but we were talking about this the other day on your channel. It's like the old law, and still really the real law is whenever you give your word, you should keep it.
That is an imperative.
And that's like fundamental to the natural law. The real well, it's not the natural law, so to speak. It's the natural law of man. If we're going to have what is a fundamental set of rules that man lives by, that's part of it. We have,
and I mean,
we have to be able to
harmonics. Like you speak aloud that I am going to do this thing, and then you don't. That's dissonance. Like it's not even going to work. Like you're a liar.
Not only that, but everyone that bases their word upon your word has cheapened their value.
Liars too.
Right. It's by that means it is an offense because it has taken the value of the word of the person that you gave your word to, because they have gone forth and presented their life as if your word was true. They have lived a falsehood on account of your word, which you gave falsely. So you must keep your word. So this is important, and it's like you said you were going to. So now if you don't, there's an imbalance.
All right.
So once again, be careful about the oaths you make. There was a teacher once that told us to swear no oaths at all, but to let your yes be yes and your no be no.
That is true.
And that is always good advice. All right, so let's see. Here we are. Throwing Ashwatthama to the chariot for Aruna replied, I do not feel able to kill him, O Krishna. How could I perpetrate an act so painful to my own guru's heart? If it is your order, it will be done. But for myself, I'd rather take him to Yudhisthira. I can't pronounce this word. To hear his judgment. Zarasudra? Maybe? Who would be a person that would have the ability to sit in judgment over this person? Who was the foundling who was raised by the one who is apparently the one who draws up with his ur, so to speak.
Right.
Not to mix our ancient legends back to people that we can't name or anything, but perhaps there's a connection.
Yeah, like there is a primal connection behind all the myths.
Yeah, I think there is.
It gets to be in sorting to the primal myth as a definite,
Like how far back do these stories really go?
I think at least 12,000 years.
It could be some of these that were dating. Yeah, like this one that we're dating to 3100. It might be that we've got a written account of it from 3100.
Right, and that could be 1,000 years later.
We don't really.
But by necessity, that's also going to be distorted because that's the only way to get transferred.
Exactly. Yeah, there's always a medium that if you vibrate the salt on a plate, patterns will form in the salt. If you change the salt out for particles of different size and density, you still get the pattern, but it doesn't look quite the same.
Right, it doesn't present itself because of the source material.
Right,
it's a different compound.
The way it winds up looking becomes different, and we think, oh, well, it's not the same pattern. It is the same pattern.
It is
just demonstrated through a different medium. All right. So Aruna dragged Ashwatthama before the women, saying, here's the killer of our sons. What should be done with him now? The soft-hearted Draupadi felt compassion. You see, this is the one who he had sworn the oath, I'm going to bring his head. And so he actually does. He brings the head with the body attached. with
got
the
your head.
body attached to the person who has been wronged.
What you do with that is not my debt.
Right.
Brought you the live person.
Now the soft-hearted Draupadi felt compassion for Ashwatthama, who sat with his head down. As he had been a Brahmin, she folded her palms in respect and said, "Release him, Aruna, for he is the son of your teacher. It is said that the son is one with his father, and thus it is as if Drona himself were here. Indeed, Drona's wife did not ascend his funeral pyre because she had a son. Killing Ashwatthama would cause her, our worshipful superior, grief, and cannot be in accord with our principles. My lord, do not make her cry like me, nor should we, the kingly order, become guilty of the sin of needlessly slaying Brahmin. Such a sin can burn the whole body of a royal family to ash." Hysteria. I'm assuming this is a female and not Zarathustra then. So I was having a hard time with the names. Excellent, excellent. Oh, gentle lady, your words are quite in accord with the sacred teachings of the Vedas. Well, the Vedas hadn't been written yet, guys. Sorry.
Yeah,
Jeremy, you're rubbing off on me.
we don't have yet.
You're rubbing off on me. Oh no.
Like, how do you do that? How do you quote something that doesn't exist yet?
This is like putting Yahweh into Genesis. It just doesn't belong there.
It doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit, guys. Aruna and the twins also expressed their agreement, but not Bhima. Bhima's the male about it. We need to show this man no mercy. He has mercilessly killed sleeping men for no purpose other than his own interest. Killing them is the only fitting punishment. Bhima advanced menacingly towards Ashwatthama. Remember, he's bound and restrained and unable to defend himself at this point. With fists clenched, his eyes were wide with fury, and he ground his teeth. Draupadi quickly came between him and Ashwatthama, who still said nothing and stared at the ground. You know, yeah, been there. I mean, what do you say? There's nothing to say. Seeing the conflict, Krishna moved forward and placed his hand on Bhima's shoulder, telling him to be peaceful. Turning to Aruna, he said, "A Brahmin, even when guilty of sin, is not to be killed. But if he is an aggressor, he must be killed. All these rulings are in the scriptures." Well, I don't know if they're in the scriptures yet.
I don't disagree at all. Like, if you're the aggressor and you die, then okay.
You should act accordingly. You have to fulfill your promise to your wife, and you must also act to Bhimasena's satisfaction. Oh, Bhima, he's applying an honorific to Bhima's name, like Bhima-san, like Bhimasena. Okay, all right. Satisfaction and mine. We both want you to kill this culprit. So this is interesting. I mean, my understanding of it was that Krishna, what Krishna ultimately winds up doing, had been like the heart of compassion all of that time.
Right.
But apparently,
it's the heart of justice instead.
Apparently, he was coming with the wrath. You know,
justice doesn't have compassion. Justice is born without prejudice, and as should be. So
he was coming with the wrath. Aruna looked at Krishna, who appeared to have 4 arms as he stood. I haven't sent you the files yet. No. There'll be 4 arms on one of them. One of them actually does have 4 arms. All right. So like that, things lining up. They appeared to have 4 arms as they stood holding Bhima at bay and comforting Draupadi. Yeah. So on the one hand, he's doing the restraint. On the other hand, he's being the comforter. So yeah, he's serving 2 roles at once, right. Being in 2 places at once, effectively. That's not this book I'm writing. That's going to be the book after, if I'm around for it. I don't know. It's called The Ring of Power, and I don't know. Well, people are going to have to know how to behave themselves before they read it.
Working
on that. Aruna looked at Krishna, who appeared to have good. We got to that part. He could understand Krishna's equivocal instructions. Ashwatthama should both be killed and not killed. Taking out his razor-edged sword, he grabbed hold of Ashwatthama's top knot and severed the hair along the shining jewel that bound it. The jewel was the repository of Ashwatthama's mystic power, and as it was removed, he shriveled and collapsed.
Wait. What? Back that one up a bit.
You're looking for the mystic significance here? All right. Taking out his razor-edged sword, he grabbed hold of Ashwatthama's top knot and severed the hair along the shining jewel that bound it. That jewel was the repository of Ashwatthama's mystic power, and as it was removed, he shriveled and collapsed. Is this a Samson story? Bound
Somewhat.
with his haircut?
Somewhat. Think more Randall Thor. In the Wheel of Time, Randall Thor is able to touch a thread that binds everyone to the pattern, right?
Right.
This would be the severing of that.
Right.
And so the whole soul would just shrivel out. Like that would be an energetic severing from source.
Yeah. Beware not. Right.
That's a whole different thing.
That's a whole different thing.
That is a whole different thing.
Beware not those that can destroy the body, but one who can destroy both the body and the soul, perhaps, might come into play there.
Yeah, like that. That's an impressive piece of literature right there.
All right. Let's see. Presenting the jewel to Draupadi, Arjuna said, "Here is the gem you desired, O beautiful lady. Ashwatthama is now as good as dead, for to cut off the hair of such a powerful warrior is equal to killing him. Indeed, the Vedas, also not written yet, prescribe such punishment for fallen Brahmin, but never sanction killing the body." Bhima praised Arjuna for his intelligent act that thus satisfied everyone. He led Draupadi to a nearby couch and sat her down as Krishna spoke to Ashwatthama. "O son of Drona, all wise men will know you as a coward and a wretch from now on. You will have to endure the fruits of your sinful acts. For 3,000 years you will wander the..." Oh, I see. There was actual time period. "For 3,000 years you will wander the earth afflicted by disease and completely alone, unable to speak to anyone. Wretched and foul, you will dwell in deep forests and dreary wastelands. At the end of this period, purified at last of your sins, you will ascend to the higher regions. Go now, wicked man." Arjuna and Bhima dragged Ashwatthama to his feet and, unbinding him, drove him from the camp. Deprived of his jewel and cursed by Krishna, his power was gone. He disappeared into the woods to begin his lonely exile.
Very interesting.
And that's the end of that particular chapter as far as I'm going to read Mahabharata right now. But what do you think?
Quarter cycle. Like 3,000 years would be a quarter cycle. Like you got the 12,000 year full cycle, hot to hot, right? And then you got the 6,000 year hot to cold. So this would be a cycle between the cycle, like the quarter cycle of the descent before the lift, going into the.
I suppose now we should probably get into what happens to a spirit essence whenever it is severed from source, but it is within this thing that we call the construct of reality between the horns of the positive and the negative antipodes. Everything that materialized here.
Yeah.
This thing is still here.
Inside the bubble.
It's still here.
Yeah.
It's still here.
And you're still in it.
But it's dissipated. So this particular spirit that we call Ashwatthama, not the elephant, is dissipated and is wandering the earth, so to speak. If we're at about 3,000 years later, looking for a place where it can settle.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like say we're approximately at that 3,000 year mark. Well, no, we're not. See, it would have popped back in about 2,000 years ago.
Yeah,
and then
we're at the very end of the 12,000 year major.
Right.
We're coming up on polarity hot.
Now, one of the things I discovered is you can sort of tie things off and put them aside to make them delay before they come back and resolve, as far as those spiritual and energetic sort of things.
Yeah.
Right?
You can pocket it off.
The question is, if there was that 3,000 year line, did this spirit come back into the world? Did it manifest at some point in some time? And has it been appropriately handled? Or is it still coming back around, so to speak? Is the spirit of desiring vengeance still with us today?
Oh, absolutely.
See, that's the thing I'm thinking of.
The miasma has changed. Like we
Right.
don't have the same spirit of vengeance that we had 100 years ago. We've got an entirely different spirit of vengeance now.
Right.
So like it's a whole different Aragorn, is that what it's called?
Well, yeah, what they're calling Erigors, which is
Yeah, like
essentially
I visited like the miasma within the plasma, right? Like so everything is the plasma. You are differentiated plasma. That is differentiated just on a different energetic level. So we can't see that spectrum, but if it's anger, it's low frequency. If it's joy, it's high.
People can see that spectrum. I don't know how.
Now, apparently there is.
I don't know how they get through life, but hey, you know,
Yeah.
I think if I could, I'd be bumping into stuff all the time.
And it's weird because like this whole thing that's happened with the aphantasia is me tapping into that thing. Like I was able to let me like I have aphantasia. For those who don't know, aphantasia is the inability to conceptualize visually anything. I cannot close my eyes and willfully imagine anything for the entirety of my life up until this current year. And there's restrictions to it. But it's something that I've had my whole life. I didn't realize was a problem, but none of the magical procedures that you would normally find worked for me at all. I had to do something completely different, and I've found a way to do it with sensory cues where I direct energy where it needs to go. In the course of this, I have managed to, on Jason's suggestion, to attempt to heal myself using my hands. Your hands are tied to your heart chakra, right? So I made the link between the heart chakra and the hands to the third eye, and then I started directing the energy with my palms. I put both of them out, and I went to my eye, and I'm like, let's see what's going on. So I discovered something. For the entirety of my life, it was like looking at a static screen. And some of y'all may not be old enough to remember what that looks like, but it's black and white dots floating wherever they want to go. I have managed somehow to understand, right? This was always a thing, but what I'm doing with my hands is clarifying the signal. By intentionally moving this energy to the center, I have been able to clear the field. Specifically in different locations in my body, I haven't done a whole lot of work externally yet. I've done it internal. That's how my process works, generally speaking. And so I've been able to isolate the different chakras. I've been able to clarify them. And when I'm clarifying them, the pattern that reveals is the Vesica Pisces. There is a light indication of a color. There is a light and a dark force, a masculine and a feminine. I talk about it. I have a whole book. There's a bunch of videos on my channel. But the melding of these two, you've got the positive coming in and the negative coming in, and you see those in the iris. But the circle, the part of your eye that's the circle, is a melding of the two in perfect balance, if it is aligned correctly. And this is something that I have been able to see willfully for the first time this week. It started Monday. So like this is brand new to me, but I've been able to tie that in to physical cues, and like I'm developing on how to express that, but like I can find it physically and identify it visually now for the first time in my life. And it's like opening up new things. So that's the backstory on that. We had this conversation prior to coming on here. So y'all might have been lost on what we were talking about, and I didn't want y'all to get lost on that because this information is not really available yet. You still here, Jason?
Yeah, there we are. I was trying to figure out how do I get this so that just you are up there. It's like I just remove myself from the stage that way.
I understand.
Yeah, I usually am not the person that does
Manipulating.
Yeah, I'm not really great at that part of it. So yeah, Jeremy's much better at running the machinery than I am.
And I'm not good. I'm just better. So
yeah, so yeah, a lot of the stuff because I do gardening, you know, and we talk about
electromagnetic manipulation of the Holy Spirit.
We talk about the nurturing of the ecosystem as a whole.
Right.
From the ground up. Well, if we were to go a little bit finer, from the ground up also means from the spirit up, and
Right.
also from the mind up. We have the basic physical reality. I usually talk about the garden in those terms. Every so often, I hint at the other aspects, the other dimensionalities of it. But on Pit Steak, it's all the time, 24/7.
Pretty wide open.
He almost never says anything about a garden in the course.
I do on occasion, however, I do love gardening.
In the course, he almost never says anything about a garden. But the cool part is, the very oldest sources that we have for this sort of information were couched in terms of gardening. And so, yeah, we're gonna be talking. Come Saturday, we are going to be talking about the actual tree of knowledge. We're not going to be able to talk about it without discussing the Garden of Eden and the Genesis story a little bit, and the couple of different Genesis stories. Genesis stories. Right.
I mean, there's at least two in the one book.
So. Yeah. There's two in the beginning, Genesis, like creation of man sort of stories that are butted up together.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like guys that are reading in the Bible that get confused. If you look behind me, you're going to see a bookshelf that has a whole bunch of different books on it. Not all of those books necessarily go together, specifically speaking, but they're on my bookshelf for a reason. Now, I know what the reason is that they're on the bookshelf for. And one of the things that I really need to get done sometime soon, especially considering the book I've got coming in this week, is to get a journal and write down what the purpose of those books is. Now, the book I've got coming in this week is the Malleus Maleficarum, which is the hammer of witches, which is the thing that was used to spark a whole bunch of mass hysteria back in the 1500s. And the reason it's going into my library is kind of for the same reason that epidemiologists store samples of a virus. This thing is toxic. It's a toxic book. Yeah. But whenever you see information that's in this book appearing in the social sphere, on the internet, for example, or in publications or anything else, you can look at it and go, oh, I know where this came from. I understand its source. We can isolate it and deal with it as contagion like it is. Right now, we have a spiritual contagion running rampant in not just in the United States of America, but in the world in general. And a large portion of what needs to be done to contain it and treat it is coming into the appropriate alignment of the self, the person, with a higher principle. Now, people call it God. I prefer Father as a thing to call it. Parent, in spiritual sense, right? Call no one Father on earth. That's the idea. This shouldn't be difficult, but it's for some reason it is, because people keep on looking for a savior to come and fix things for them.
Right.
Whenever if
somebody else has to take the responsibility, Jason.
Yeah, whenever somebody else must come and take this responsibility. Surely he isn't trying to tell us that we need to grow up and be responsible ourselves. Oh no.
No.
But the actual solution is to indeed come into that appropriate alignment. The first and most important thing is, whenever we think about God, whatever we call God, if it's not good, then we're screwed anyway. So we may as well say it's good. And if we say that God is good and God is all good, then we, if we're going to be being the children of the all good, then we should be guided by that inspiration of all good to find ways to seek the good in every circumstance, in every situation, constantly, not only seeking it for ourselves, but helping other people whenever they are seeking to complete that, to provide what's called samak, support in completion of that of that search for the good. That's really what we need to do. And whenever we do that, the burden that we carry, it is a burden. Yes, absolutely it is. But the burden becomes much, much lighter, because you're not trying to lift the entire weight of the world yourself. You know, like Hercules coming to spell Atlas for a moment. You know what Atlas is doing? Atlas is sitting here holding those two antipodes from the eternal night to the limitless light. He's holding those. He's holding them in his hands, straddling the pillars to hold them. So Hercules comes, and as his Herculean effort, he comes to those pillars and he takes them for a moment. I've been to the pillars and looked at them and saw what was holding them and said, "You're doing a great job. Keep it up." I'm not Hercules. Right? I'm not Hercules.
That's not my part of the elephant.
That's not my job, not my circus, not my monkeys. I have the one thing that I'm really good at, and I can't tell you what it is because that would be bragging. But the
balance.
But the ship does not operate without a crew, and as Jeremy keeps on saying, there is a crew out there. Membership of the crew is 100%. Membership in the crew is 100% voluntary only. If you don't think you're a hero of this age, then you can stay ashore. But one way or the other, you've got to pick a side in this fight, and the fight is not fought necessarily with physical arms. It's a spiritual battle.
It is a spiritual battle.
And if you'd like to know more about that, Saturday I'm doing a presentation on Jeremy's channel. Jeremy is good to watch anytime, though, especially if you're up late at night and you can't sleep. You just want to hear something from ancient Greece or Rome or wherever being read out loud.
Or the Constitution, I got you. I got you.
Or the Constitution.
We'll talk.
Or the Constitution. I want to see you tackle the Anti-Federalist Papers next. That might be a good one.
I need to, but I need to get into Young. Like, I'm half tempted to stop the down and jump into Young.
Oh, Young is good. Young is good.
Like, I need to get into it. And it's
that
between the mystical and the psychological, and I got to do it.
That was one of those things where you've got, like, so many different verses. The very first one, if it was phrased right, you could have got it, right? And then every other verse that's there is just sort of another way of trying to phrase it so that you can kind of get it if you didn't get the first time, right? So this is one of those things where, like, you know, you could read the entire thing and go, yeah, what that said.
And I think I might have got that in the video that's coming out tomorrow.
Cool.
Like the one that was supposed to come out today, where I addressed the thing that happened before it happened.
Right.
Like, if you express a fear, then you can address a fear, right? And so my video today was about expressing the fear. And then I went out and I did the light work. Like, I moved, cleansed, grounded, shielded, picked up a couple timelines, like disrupted some things. Like, I was doing a light today, like intentionally moving light.
I thought we had everybody.
There's still forces.
I thought we had everybody going on this ride.
I did too, but like maybe there's more availability now, and we sure grabbed a lot.
That is always a possibility. I mean, some people didn't realize that
once the vibration starts getting higher, more of the lower vibration.
Well, a lot of people didn't realize that there was a voyage getting ready to take place.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't realize it. Hey, yeah, there's a voyage getting ready to take place. We're getting ready to do this thing. Hi, by the way, my name is Jason. I'm just a Jason, not the. Well, I guess I do keep on saying I am the Jason, but I'm a Jason. We have a task. During the last age, the fleece, the golden fleece, that's humanity, you guys, us, all of us, really. The golden fleece, the skin of the lamb, so to speak, us, got left at the Temple of Ares. That's war. And we've been spending an age kind of in the service to Ares. The task of this age is to rally ourselves, hop on the boat, get up, take the fleece from the house of Ares and move it to Virgo. That would be the astrological equivalent. Now, what that looks like, you know, in practice, I don't know. I really don't know. Brian's on KP. Hey, that's right. We need cooks.
Everybody is needed on the crew. That's why we have a crew.
We need cooks. We need quartermasters. We need people who can steer a ship.
Yeah.
We need people who know how to establish a 401(c) or whatever the heck that is, because I don't want to be receiving a lot of money and having to deal with it myself.
All right.
And it's like I said, it's not my specialty. I,
I'm not a CPA in the family. So,
I'm just riding this ship to the restoration of the kingdom. That's all.
That's it. I'm here to do what I can, where I can, how I can, to be a light upon the hill. And you can't be a light if you're hiding in the darkness. So you got to get out there and shine.
Yep.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
All right. So guys, if you're tuning in late, this is Jeremy from Pit Steak. We got a link in the comments, so I'll put one in the description as well, so you can find it. On Saturdays, he's been doing live streams. I've been the guest for the past 4 Saturdays.
I think this week's 4.
Or nope, this week's 5.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah, it's 5. First 4 weeks, we covered the letters of the Hebrew alphabet using Rabbi Raskin's Letters of Light for one of the source books, some of my own insights for another one of the source books. We'll find out how accurate my insights are, I guess, eventually as we go a little bit further in.
Right.
But last week, it's crazy. Last week we were talking about walls, and we were picking up those letters that were not really included in the initial lesson. And as I've been doing this, I've kind of gotten a better idea for how I want to present that alphabet
Excellent.
in the future.
You know what the Navy teaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
See it, do it, teach it.
Oh.
There's a reason for that.
Well, there's a lot of things the Navy teaches.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things the Navy teaches.
A lot of things the Navy teaches. But
yeah, thanks, Jason. I appreciate you having me on. My wife just got home, and I gotta get
all right.
supper.
So Saturday, go to Pit Steak, and we'll pick up on week 5, where we kind of start putting it all together, and that's going to include the tree of knowledge, the tree of life, the Garden of Eden, and some other fun stuff. So thanks for coming. I appreciate it. And guys,
I appreciate it.
Guys who've been watching, I'm getting ready to head out too. I've got to go outside, and I got to take care of the garden. We got to water.
Right.
It looks like a clear day out here.
You can't get to the harvest if you're not putting the work in.
Yeah, and remember, without water, everything dies. So remember to provide the water. Remember to provide the water. When you establish the foundation, the water has got to be in mind. All right, guys, thanks for joining. We'll catch you next time. Until then, get out there and get growing.
Thanks.
And we'll end the stream here.